today on the Frontline Health Podcast.
When you think about the holidays and maybe you've lost a loved one, that creates a lot more stress. There can be financial stress because maybe you've overspent or maybe you didn't spend as much as you wanted to for certain gifts because you didn't have the financial wherewithal to do that. All those things come into play. I think that happens whether you're older or younger. Newly married sometimes is very difficult because you're having to start all new traditions and you're having to go to in-laws' house where before you didn't, and you're having to schedule all those things. But I think really, if we step back and we see those as opportunities to relate well with people, to interact with people, and to even understanding times of Thanksgiving, if we're going into Thanksgiving season, if we step back and practice that mentality of being thankful and grateful for the families that we have, the friends that we have, the way that we have grown up, then that's key. And then
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Frontline Health Podcast by Centurion Health. I'm your host, Evan Patrick, and as always, I'm joined by Centurion Health founder and CEO, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Troy Duell. Troy, how's it going today?
good, mostly the myth, though. I don't know about any of that other stuff, but appreciate that. Excited about today's episode because I think it is a super practical episode for us where we go into obviously this time of year. We've got Thanksgiving followed by Christmas. We're at all kinds of Christmas parties, whether that's at the office, at the house, with family, and we always have some new treats that come up or old treats that we want to dive into, along with the travel and the other stress that goes along with this time of year. So we want to talk about a few things that can hopefully help us walk through this season in a good way.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It is the most wonderful time of the year, to be sure. We all want to be good, feel good. We enjoy the family time this time of year. But you know what? We lose a lot of our routines. We lose a lot of our habits because we slow down, and we don't want to let that get us in poor health. A lot of people find themselves in starting out a new year and constantly trying to rebound. So today we want to give you 5 practical, realistic tips to stay healthy this holiday season without sacrificing anything fun about the holidays. Tip number 1, prioritize real food but still enjoy the treats. So, as we know is so important, we want to start with nutrition, and we know that food is a huge part of the holidays.
You are absolutely right, and I think this is the foundation upon which the whole season rests. And I get it; it is tough when you go to Grandma's house or you go to Aunt Barbara's house, and she's got all the food that you've been waiting on for a year in front of your face. But the fact is, if you're really intentional and you're disciplined, you make a plan and you stick to it, then you can really walk through the holidays and be helpful. So, or be healthy towards the end of it. So, know what items you're willing to sacrifice and put them on a scale and say, hey, grandma's pie, I've got to have it. I want to have one piece, not four pieces of it. And I'm not going to jump into some of these other things that I like, but maybe they aren't top of the list. And then putting into perspective, if 90% of your food is real food, high quality protein, good fruits and vegetables, and only 10% of your food are treats, then I think you're setting yourself up for a good, healthy season.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of bring up a good point there. A lot of the food that we enjoy at the holidays is actually good for us. You know, those proteins, that turkey that you have on your plate, even those deviled eggs, which we don't make all of the time, that's healthy protein that can help you kind of fill up fast and get something that's actually really good for your body. And then vegetables, right? Sometimes we make those vegetables in a special way, maybe not the healthiest way, but they're still veggies at the end of the day and giving us some nutrients that we need. And if we prioritize those foods ahead of the treats and eat those foods that are going to make us feel full and give us good nutrients, then maybe we have just the right amount of room left over for, like you said, that 10% treats.
That's right. And I think where we have to be careful, especially in the South, where we consider macaroni and cheese to be a vegetable, we've got to be very, very careful because macaroni and cheese, sweet potato pie, while they are very, very good, they're probably not high on the priority list and they are not a vegetable. I know that's probably a shock to a lot of people out there. So be mindful of that. Don't jump on it, but make sure that you're getting the true protein that you talked about, that healthy fat, getting some fiber in there. So always look for a way to have a salad because that's going to help fill you up, but it's also going to fill you up with the right nutrients, which will help keep your energy levels up and keep your body reacting and responding the right way when we know things aren't necessarily the same rhythm that our body's used to. So we also know that you need to be hydrating well and make sure that you're not forsaking lots of water. We talked earlier this month on some of the headlines that we read, how just one can of soda each day increased the risk of liver disease. So this is something that you want to make sure and be very, very mindful of, that you get your calories during this season from the food that you want to eat and not necessarily from the things that you're drinking. So be mindful of that as well.
That's really good. Yeah. So, our practical takeaway to round out tip number one: start meals with water and a source of protein, then enjoy a little bit of your favorites without all the guilt.
That's right. Or at least without too much guilt.
Without too much guilt. A little bit of guilt is good for you.
That's right.
Tip number two: this one is probably overlooked by a lot of people. Keep your immune system strong. We know that people are traveling for the holidays, which means you're going to be exposed to a lot more people if you're going through airports or if you're stopping at gas stations and touching pumps that a lot of people have touched or that kind of thing. You're going to be around family members that maybe are from different parts of the country. You're going to have maybe some late nights staying up later. We know that sleep or lack of sleep affects your immune system negatively. And then lots of sugar, which we have also discussed recently, has a negative impact on your immune health. So we know that all of these things add up and really can create a lot of stress on your immune system.
For sure. And that travel, especially when you're in new areas and you may not wash your hands as often as you once did, any of those things add up to cause some serious issue with our immune health. So some ways to get around that is make sure that at least you're supplementing well with your health. We've talked about vitamin D before and making sure that it's vitamin D3, the cholecalciferol, which is the vitamin D that we get from the sun. We know this time of year, as we get into the holiday season, there's less sun out there. It's a little cooler outside, so harder for us to get out and enjoy it. So make sure that you're supplementing with it. Look for your vitamin C, which we've always heard about, and zinc. And then, of course, quercetin and luteolin, and some of the studies that have come out even talking about melatonin, which if you're having trouble sleeping, it may help you with your sleep. But there's lots of several studies coming out that show how melatonin can help bolster your immune health and help fight off some of those infections that are there. And then, of course, elderberry, which has been a buzzword within the immune health world for the last several years. And the final thing is sleep. We know that you've got to be getting the right sleep, and trying to build some healthy habits of sleep while you're traveling is key to stay healthy.
Yeah, and we always love to mention, we have some great immunity products at Centurion Health that can really help people get some of these nutrients in and even improve their sleep quality. Defender Immunity Boost, our daytime immunity booster, that's got vitamin C, D, zinc, quercetin, and copper, some of those things that you just mentioned, and then Defender PM, which has those ingredients and even some more to help with sleep quality, like that melatonin that you mentioned. So definitely, if you're not familiar with those products, feel free to head to centurion.health and check them out. But we know that that these things are perfect for travel days and busy weeks when your diet isn't perfect and maybe you're lacking in some of those nutrients. So our practical takeaway from tip number two: be proactive with your immune support, especially before these big gatherings with family. Tip number three: move daily. And yes, even 10 minutes a day counts. When schedules go crazy, workouts are usually the first thing that we cut out. especially we've all kind of been there when we're sitting around with extended family in a living room, just kind of staring at each other or maybe staring at our phones. And we're sitting there in front of a TV screen as well. And maybe we don't find the time or the ways to move around, even though we really could.
Absolutely. And I think that's key. It's one of those things we're already miserable. Most of us are holding our stomachs going, I wish I hadn't eaten all of that. But that 10-minute walk after a meal helps get your metabolism back up to speed. It's also a great time to socialize with some of those family members that maybe you haven't talked to in a while. So use that to your advantage and use that to be as effective as possible to help keep your immune system up, but also get that metabolism going. We know that you can, while you're on the road, it may be difficult to find a gym, but do push-ups, do sit-ups, do different things in a travel scenario that maybe you wouldn't necessarily do. I know people who use their suitcases, a barbell, and they'll use their suitcase or chairs to help with dips. So there are different exercises that you can certainly do in the morning or just before you go to bed that can help keep your metabolism up, help keep you as healthy as possible. And we know that that's going to help with your immune health overall. And then a couple other things you can do if you're in a building that has an elevator or has an escalator, avoid them. Go up the stairs because one of my favorite sayings is sick people don't take stairs. So you get introduced to less germs, but more importantly, you're actually increasing your metabolism and you're burning some calories. If you have an opportunity at a place and you have a prime parking spot up at the top and there's a hill, park at the bottom, walk the hill and make sure you're doing some of those things. So I think those are little pieces that you can start to throw in each and every day to help you get a little bit healthier.
Yeah, and Troy, I've got a suspicion here, so I want to ask, is your family a turkey trot family on Thanksgiving?
No turkey trot here, but we do go for walks usually. But that's a great idea. Do you do a turkey trot with your family?
I do not. We're not a turkey trot family, but I will say we are a throw the football in the backyard during the halftime of the Dallas Cowboys game family. So again, that
Yes.
gets us our 10 minutes of movement, even though it's not as intense as a turkey trot.
Yes, very guilty of doing that as well. We'll get out, throw the football, do some of that kind of stuff, which is always fun. Just anything you can do to get up off the couch is key to keeping your health and your immune system up and running.
Good stuff. So to finish off, tip number three, our practical takeaway, aim for 10 minutes of movement 3 times a day or a post-meal walk with your family. Find ways to move around and have fun with the family as well. Tip number four, protect your sleep. We've already alluded this a little bit. What are your thoughts on this, Troy?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult when you get around family or friends that you haven't seen in a while. Typically, that means late nights because you're talking about things. It's definitely a lifestyle interruption at the least because maybe you're sleeping in a bed that you're not familiar with or sleeping in an area you're not familiar with. The air, everything can be something that throws you off, new sounds. So your sleep is going to get interrupted. And then if you throw in alcohol and bad diet with that, we know that those things can really kill people's sleep. So we want to be very, very mindful of those things. Limit your alcohol intake, and try to get as good of a routine as you possibly can.
Yeah, so what are some simple things, very, very practically, that people can realistically do to protect their sleep during the holidays?
Yeah, I think one that's very difficult because I think a lot of people, when they travel, it's one of their habits just before they go to bed is they look at their screen. They're trying to catch up on the news, trying to catch up on whatever else is happening back home. So be sure that you're putting your screen down at least 30 minutes before you go to bed to turn your mind off. Stop eating a couple hours before you go to bed. Make sure that the room is as cool and dark as possible, which is always a little bit more difficult when you're on the road because you can't always control some of those things, but do the best you can and then limit the alcohol intake on the nights that you're trying to get as good a rest as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. There are all kind of things we can do to protect our sleep. I know my wife and I are always big on the blackout curtains here at home, and that definitely helps our sleep when we can get into a darker environment. So bring an eye mask. Some people also like to supplement with magnesium to help
Mhm.
relax and help them sleep. So supplementation is also a good thing that can help there. Our practical takeaway, pick three non-negotiable nights a week when you're traveling where you commit to sleep quality. So even if you have to sacrifice on staying up a little bit later or watching a movie with the family before going to bed on some of the nights that you're traveling with your family, make sure that at least three of those, maybe out of the week, you are committed to practicing these good sleep hygiene habits.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip for sure.
Our fifth and final tip, manage stress and protect joy. Troy, we know that the holidays, while they're supposed to be a time of joy and excitement and love, they can really be something that creates a lot of stress and heartache for people.
Absolutely. And I think when you think about the holidays and maybe you've lost a loved one, that creates a lot more stress. There can be financial stress because maybe you've overspent or maybe you didn't spend as much as you wanted to for certain gifts because you didn't have the financial wherewithal to do that. All those things come into play. I think that happens whether you're older or younger. Newly married sometimes is very difficult because you're having to start all new traditions and you're having to go to in-laws' house where before you didn't, and you're having to schedule all those things. But I think really, if we step back and we see those as opportunities to relate well with people, to interact with people, and to even understanding times of Thanksgiving, if we're going into Thanksgiving season, if we step back and practice that mentality of being thankful and grateful for the families that we have, the friends that we have, the way that we have grown up, then that's key. And then making sure that you're setting boundaries with your time. If you know you've got to be in two places, be sure to set those boundaries well so then you can be at two different places and help alleviate some of the pain and the stress that you're going through with those things. And by taking these walks, by doing different things and going outside and getting some fresh air, I think that is definitely key. And if you're there, then be there. Don't be absent. Spend time with the family. Really talk of old stories, whatever it may be that brings some joy to you from just fun times that you've had together in the past. And those are some of the best ways to deal with that stress.
Yeah, I think that last thing that you mentioned is super important. Just being present. We don't get times with, many of us don't get times with our extended families as often as we would like to. And being present in those moments, making those memories that you can then talk about and have stories to share in with future generations and in other holiday gatherings, that is so much more valuable and important than responding to every text or email or staying on social media and seeing every little thing that's going on.
For sure.
So our practical takeaway from tip number five, ask yourself, what do I want to remember about this season? And let what is most important and what you really want to be spending your time on be what guides the choices that you make this holiday season.
Uh, Great advice. And just to kind of quickly recap everything we talked about, diet is key. So eat those healthy proteins, fruits and vegetables, and then enjoy the treats. Limit those treats, maybe 10% of your diet during those times, and make sure the ones that you want to eat are really, really good so you can hit the right spots. Support your immune system with supplementation. I'd start maybe 1 to 2 weeks out before you go to big gatherings in order to make sure that your body has everything it needs. Get outside, walk, do something of exercise, even though it's not your normal routine. Definitely do that. Make sure that you're getting plenty of sleep and then reduce that stress and really be present with your families and friends in order to get the most joy out of the situation.
That's right. This season is really supposed to be all about gratitude, family, celebrating the blessings we've been given. These small decisions that we make allow us to fully enjoy those moments rather than feeling like we wasted our time and not truly experiencing the refreshing that we're supposed to feel after these times.
That's right. And of course, if you need some of that extra support, we do have Defender Immunity Boost and Defender PM that can help bolster your immune health. And then we've got some of the Pure Lore products that can help you stay healthy and even energized through the holidays. And be glad to help if you wanted to take those.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Frontline Health Podcast. If you found any of these tips helpful, be sure to share this episode with a friend or family member that you want to stay healthy with this season. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. As always, we want to encourage you, go out and take ownership of your health today because you are your best health advocate. Happy holidays. If you enjoyed what you heard today on the podcast, please consider leaving us a review. We would love to hear your feedback and connect with you further. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube. And for safe, effective, and affordable health and wellness products made in the USA, visit www.centurion.health. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.